Waldo Politics is now live streaming. Just chatting. Will I start rounding up the homeless? Getting started soon. Toss any links to cool stories into the Discord. I'm here. Good morning. Oh hi Mal. Twitch chat gets robot lady. Just saying. Throws water bottle in frustration. Oh, hi Mal. That is where I got the oh hi from. LOL based. I should watch The Room XD. No, you really shouldn't.
Oh, hi. My name is Waldo, and I'm here to feel the politics with you. How is everybody today?
LOL beat me to it.
Yeah, exactly. You should not watch The Room. No, it's bad. You should not watch it. You should just watch the James Franco. I think that's his name, right?
Hi Waldo.
Who remade
Master
the whole thing.
2002 Sharkey Love.
It's very good. I would love to talk about The Room for a minute. Like, okay, worst movie ever made. Yeah, great. Okay, I don't think Tommy Wiseau.
It can't be worse than Lady Ballers.
Oh,
XD.
it is worse. I don't think Tommy Wiseau is a human. I think he is an extraterrestrial, extra-dimensional being. Okay, he is the fail son of some baron in another dimension. There's some galactic empire.
That is why I need to watch it. Genes one Bulbicol.
Right. There is a galactic empire somewhere in another dimension. You can't get to them. They can get to us. They just don't like us. They don't want to bother, you know? And so
Neil Breen failed clone.
Yeah. So Neil Breen might be from there as well. So they have a galactic empire. They have a very wealthy emperor. He owns everything. And he's just got this seventh son, you know? And he's just an idiot. There's nothing you could do with him. You can't teach him to do the things. He failed at being a general. He failed at all the things. He doesn't want to do any of the things. And so that emperor sent his seventh son to our dimension. And so he got here. He loved it. He thought it was great. He started watching movies. He is wearing a skin suit, you know, to look like a human. When you watch the I think it's James Franco. It's James Franco, right? That actor that played him in the story about his life. I have to find out. James Franco. Yeah, that's him. So yeah, James Franco made a movie about the movie The Room. He played Tommy Wiseau. When you watch that, you find out that he didn't know how to make movies. He had lots of money. Where did the money come from? Nobody knows. It came from the Galactic Emperor, you know? So then he had to have his own bathroom. I think this is the first and most important point. When you watch the movie about The Room made by James Franco, you see that he was very serious about having his own bathroom that no one else used. Why did he make that? Why was that such an important thing to him? Because to use the bathroom, Tommy Wiseau had to take off his skin suit and pull out his excretion tentacle and then excrete, you know? So because he can't do that in the men's room while all the other people are around, someone would notice. If you're in the men's room, okay, you pull up to the urinal, and to your left, someone pulled off their skin suit, and their excretion tentacle has come out, and they are now just dumping things into the sink. You'd be like, what in the fuck is going on? Okay, that's an alien. You'd notice. Which is why Tommy Wiseau had to have his own bathroom, and no one else could use it.
You can't have people seeing your squeedily sputch.
Exactly. There's an exchange system between interstellar currency and Earth currency? Yes. He brought with him things that were of value to us, but not as valuable to the Galactic Empire. Okay, they had gold just lying around. They can just 3D print gold in the Galactic Empire that he is from. They have a device that just spits it out anytime you want it, and they don't care. So he had his father loaded him up. The Galactic Emperor just gave him a whole bunch of gold and things that are of value in our dimension. They gave it to him. He came here. He sold it off. He put it into money. He had dollars. And then he just watched movies and tried to become a movie star. It's a whole thing. So that is my conspiracy theory for today. I have more conspiracy theories for you today. What the hell are we talking about?
Make them value mud.
Exactly. Something like that. So what the hell am I doing? What the hell am I talking about? My name is Waldo. I'm here to talk about the politics. And galactic empires are part of politics. I mean, they literally are. But I'm going to bring it back down to the terrestrial level, back down to our actual normal level. We are going to talk about, what are we doing today? We're going to talk about, is ICE going to round up homeless people? I think they are. Then why it's a bad idea. We'll check on the Epstein stuff. We'll check on what's her name? Skunkhead. Tulsi Gabbard is talking about for Obama, another distraction. It's stupid. What Obama ought to do, because I'm going to tell you what Obama ought to do.
Just hearing that makes me dread the future.
Yes, I am here to bring you the ugly, disgusting, unpalatable truth. That's what I do here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for hopping into chat. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you're feeling. I will make everybody feel bad with the literal reality that you are a part of. And I'm sorry that you have to feel bad about the literal reality you're a part of. Then what else do we got? One conspiracy theory about Donald Trump and the Epstein files, and then maybe some stuff about crypto, because I do very much hate crypto. So our dimension is the normal dimension. Sounds pretty dimensionless to me. That's, yeah, our terrestrial, I said. Terrestrial, meaning this plane. If I called it normal and you'd like to woke scold me, you're welcome to. The normal for me, and I accept my cancellation. I thank you. Definitely going to go rounding up undesirables. Yeah, that's what I'm worried about, is that they're going to start doing that. So then, yeah, that's it. And if we run out of things to talk about, we'll play a video game. But I don't think we will run out of things to talk about today, because it is a very busy and fun day. Let's start with this horrible idea. What is it? This is ending crime and disorder on America's streets. Very cool name. This is an executive order from Donald Trump, and what has he said?
Dimensional lives matter, but don't they not have matter?
They're literally not matter. They are they don't have cells. They don't have atoms. They are not matter, so they can't matter. Canceling Waldo from interdimensional cable. That's fine. How can a criminal end crime? That's a good question, White Tony. How can Donald Trump, the criminal, end crime? Well, here's how he's going to do it.
They potentially matter.
What is he talking about? Endemic vagrancy. Dun, dun, dun. Disorderly behavior. Sudden confrontations and violent attacks have made our cities unsafe. The right really does hate homeless people. They're not interested in making society better. They really are interested in street crime. That's the thing that's harming you the most, street crime. Kash Patel has suggested that he is...
Tell me, Donald, what prompted these things?
Yeah, it might be a distraction.
Smiley face.
Donald has suggested that Kash Patel is more interested in the FBI chasing down bad guys down the street than they are investigating white-collar crime and discussing and looking into things that might be illegal, that the rich people are doing. Poor people crime is far more important. I feel like this is just an
excuse to crack down on ICE protesters.
It is. We're actually about to look at that. That's the next sentence. The number of individuals living on the streets in the United States on a single night during the last year of the previous administration was 274,000. That's a lot, but God, it's not that many. Honestly, I honestly thought the number was bigger than that. This is the most people that were homeless in the country, 274,000. That's like not very many. I thought it was much larger. The overwhelming majority of these individuals are addicted to drugs. have a mental health condition, or both. Nearly 2/3 of homeless individuals report having regularly used hard drugs like methamphetamines, cocaine, or opioids in their lifetimes. 1/3 of all Americans would use drugs like methamphetamines, cocaine, opioids in their lifetimes. Most people do.
Isn't a mental disorder.
The mental disorder causes the addiction to the drugs. I would say that they're doing these things backward, as usual. Conservatives are a backward-facing ideology. An equally large share of homeless individuals reported suffering from mental health conditions. The federal government and the states have spent tens of billions of dollars on failed programs that address homelessness, but not its root causes, leaving other citizens vulnerable to public safety threats. Street crime. This is the problem. The homeless people don't need to be taken care of. They don't need to be given homes, according to the conservatives. They need to be off the damn street because they're scared of seeing them. They don't like seeing them. And I recognize that they can be off-putting. If they're sleeping in the storefront, as they often do in Seattle, when I walk around down there, you can't go into the store. You have to step over a guy. Not pleasant. Not fun. But the problem is that we need to give them houses. And I said give. I didn't say sell. Give them houses. Give them a place to live. But that's called Housing First Initiative, and Donald Trump is against that too. We're about to find out. Shifting homeless individuals to long-term institutional settings for humane treatment through the appropriate use of civil commitment will restore public order. So this is describing mental asylums, homeless homes. This is very difficult to get right. I don't trust Donald Trump and his ghouls to get it right. This is an incredibly complicated situation, putting all these people into a place. Are they allowed to leave? Are they allowed to bring their cigarettes with them? Are they allowed to bring their dogs with them? Are they allowed to live with other people? Do you have to separate them by gender? Do you have to separate them by race? Because some of them might be crazy. Do you have to separate them by mental disorders? Do you have to bring in specialists? Do you have to? How much do you have to feed them? How much do you have to? It is very expensive. Ronald Reagan dicked us on this by closing the mental institutions because he didn't want to pay for them. Instead of charging rich people taxes and then giving it to the mental institutions, he just kicked them all out and closed the places. Were those mental institutions good places? No, not really. They weren't really good either. They were miserable. They were misery factories. They were pretty shitty and a bit abusive. Sometimes you couldn't leave. Sometimes you couldn't own things. It's very complicated. This will not be easy. This will require lots and lots and lots of nuance. You know who doesn't have any nuance at all? Donald Trump. He doesn't like nuance. It's stupid and shitty. He hates it. It's for jackasses. He doesn't like nuance. He doesn't do nuance. He makes wide, sweeping proclamations, and then everybody just does what he tells them in his mind. So let's keep reading. Surrendering our cities and citizens to disorder and fear is neither compassionate to the homeless nor the citizens. My administration will take a new approach focused on protecting public safety. Again, street crime. That's all they care about. The Attorney General, in consultation with the Secretary of Health and Human Services, RFK Jr. RFK Jr. is going to put all the homeless people into a camp and then make them work. Sorry. They shall seek appropriate cases, the reversal of federal and state judicial precedents, and the termination of consent decrees that impede the United States policy on encouraging civil commitment of individuals with mental illness. Consent decrees. Consent decrees. What does a consent decree mean? Well, that means if the person doesn't want to be in the mental institution, they don't have to be in the mental institution. Donnie hates that shit. No, you're not allowed to consent to whether or not you're in the mental institution. They'll all just say no and leave. So we're going to put them in there against their consent without them saying that they want to be there. So forcefully put them there. And if they try to leave, forcefully keep them there. It'll be great. What could possibly go wrong? For appropriate periods of time. What is an appropriate period of time? Whatever the fuck they say. You don't get to choose. You don't have any consent in this matter. They're going to provide assistance to state and local governments through technical guidance, grants, or other legally available means for the identification, adoption, and implementation of maximally flexible civil commitment. Okay? Institutional treatment and step-down treatment standards that allow for the appropriate commitment and what is the appropriate commitment again, whatever the fuck they say, and treatment of the individuals with mental illness who pose a danger to others or are living in the streets and cannot care for themselves. This has got to have lots of experts doing very complicated things. They're not going to bring those experts in. Donnie, the conservatives.
Committing your wife and blue-haired daughters for female hysteria up next.
Absolutely. And the RFK Jr. is a moron. He does not do nuance. He does not understand medicine at all in any way, shape, or form. And he will hire a bunch of fucking podcasters to run this program. And they will dick it up. They will do human rights violations on a very large scale. And they'll be paid with your tax money to do that. It's going to suck. And the news will show us, and then I'll point to it, and then we'll all watch the misery factory that is that gets built, and we'll do nothing about it. And then when I point at it, the right will tell me that I'm a libtard. The Attorney General and the Secretary of Health and Human Services and the Secretary of Housing and Urban Development and the Secretary of Transportation shall take immediate steps to assess the discretionary grant programs, determine whether the priority for these grants may be given to the grantees and states, blah, blah, blah. Enforce prohibitions on open illicit drug use. Put more homeless people in jail. Enforce prohibitions on urban camping and loitering. Loitering. Worst case scenario, as Shinsinto said a minute ago, this one's used against protesters. Enforce prohibitions again on urban squatting. That means the people in the tents will go to jail. Enforce and where necessary, adopt standards that address individuals who are a danger to themselves or others and suffer from serious mental illness or substance disorder, who are living on the streets and cannot care for themselves through assisted outpatient treatment. Outpatient treatment means you're not living there, so maybe give them something to do. Maybe having a clinic take care of them. Or by moving them into a treatment center. Treatment center. RFK is going to build these treatment centers. They're going to round these people up. Worst case scenario, and I'm being a little bit tinfoil hatty here. RFK Jr. is going to build these things in the middle of the country. He's going to use ICE and or some sort of federal agency to round up the homeless people. He's going to take them all the way over to the middle of the country where they are, a farm, and put them there. And then force them to stay there. It's going to be like a work farm. It's going to be a work... It's going to be a concentration camp. Why are you there? Not because you committed crimes, because you're homeless. That's the actual fact that you are homeless means that you get put in this camp. And then they're going to make you work. They're going to make you earn your way out. This is ugly laws all over again. Yeah, pretty much. So that makes me nervous. Are there appropriate facilities via civil commitment or other available means, the maximum extent permitted by law? Substantially implements and comply with the extent required. Registration and notification obligations of sex offender registry, which Donald Trump ought to be on, and Notification Act, particularly the case of registered sex offenders with no fixed address. So if you are a registered sex offender with no fixed address, they will put you in the camp and you will work, including an adequate mapping and checking of location of homeless sex offenders. Okay. Ensure that homeless individuals arrested for federal crimes are evaluated consistent with the thing, and sexually dangerous persons can be certified according to civil commitment. Great. Take all necessary steps to ensure the availability of funds for emergency federal law enforcement, blah, blah, blah. Is there anything else important here? Not released to the public. Okay. Federal resources to determine whether they may be directed towards ensuring to the extent permitted by law that detainees with serious mental illness are not released into the public because of a lack of forensic bed capacity at the appropriate local, state, and federal jails or hospitals. So, crazy person, underwear outside the pants, saying things out in a public place in front of a business. The business calls, he gets arrested, and then they let him out later. That's usually what happens because they haven't committed any crimes. They're just annoying. This would put them in jail for longer. enhanced requirements that prisons and residential reentry centers that are under the authority of Attorney General receive funding from the Attorney General, requiring custody housing release plans, and the maximum extent participable require individuals to comply with their plan. You have to pay attention to what they're telling you, or else you don't get out. Do what we tell you, or you can't leave. Let's see. Yeah, it's only been 6 months. Yeah, I know. And when we're rounding the fools up, we're rounding them up. Ensure that discretionary grants, substance abuse, mental health service administrations for substance use disorder prevention, treatment and recovery funds, evidence-based programs do not fund programs that fail to achieve adequate outcomes, including the so-called harm reduction or safe consumption efforts that only facilitate illegal drug use and its attendant harm. So this is shutting down the thing that works. The safe consumption, that means the places that you go to shoot up. There are consumption rooms where you can go. There are clean needles. You can use them. You bring your own drugs. Then you put the needles into a safe, needle-safe drop-off place and not on the side of the fucking road, and not just thrown into a regular dumpster where the trash guy will get stabbed by it. No. You go to a specific place, and you know what else is in that place? Medics. In case you OD, then they can take care of you. People who want to get you off of the drugs. This isn't just a law-free zone. That's what conservatives think that safe use places are. They think it's just a small room that we built where you're allowed to break all the laws. No. It's filled with information about how to quit drugs. It's filled with information about how dangerous the drugs are. And then the people outside don't want you to continue. They want to offer you services to get you off of the drugs. Conservatives hate that shit. They hate that shit. Because in their brain, they can't get past the thought that you're allowing them to use the drugs in this little space. A safe space for heroin needles. It works, and they don't want to admit that it works. They don't want to think that it works, because they, again, hate the people who do the drugs. So you need to punish them harder. Harder punishments is what this is about. The Dems have been too soft on these people. So we need to punish them harder. Provide technical assistance to assisted outpatient treatment programs for individuals with serious mental illness or drug use during civil commitment process, serving individuals off the street and public programs into private housing and support networks. Private housing and support networks. That will be a company. A company will build the cheapest ramshackle government project you've ever seen, and then put in a request to the government to get $10 billion. They'll get it, and they'll keep it, and they'll profit from it, and then they will fill it with homeless people who get nothing. They get no services. They get no benefit. They don't get the treatment that they need. This is like private prisons. Private prisons are a disgusting thing that happens within the capitalism, the capitalist hellhole that you live in. This is only going to make capitalists, this is going to make private homeless shelters. They're not going to be charities the way they are now. No, homeless shelters are going to be run for profit. They're going to bring the people in. They're going to count them. They're going to tell the government, hey, I have 10,000, no, not 10,000, I have 700 homeless people. Give me money. They will get that money. A small percentage of that money will be used to maintain the facility and feed the people. The rest will go into a CEO's pocket. He will keep that money. It's exactly how the prisons operate. That's how conservatives want schools to operate. They want schools to do exactly that same thing. Hey, I've got 10,000 students. Give me government money. Then they will use a small percentage of that money on the students, on the upkeep of the facility to pay the teachers, and then the rest will go into the CEO's pockets. That's how prisons work in America. Hey, I have 9,000 prisoners. Give me government money. They spend a small amount of it on the prisoners and the people who work there, and then the CEO keeps the rest of it. Same with health insurance. Except they get that money partially from the government, but also from the for Medicare and Medicaid, but then also from the people paying things. This is capitalism running amok. Capitalism is the cause of our homelessness, and it is trying to benefit and profit off of that homelessness. And you're going to pay for it. This is coming from taxpayers. This is coming from the taxes that we all pay as Americans. I know not all of my audience is American, but to ensure the federal funds, the federal qualified health centers of certified community behavioral health clinics reduce rather than promote homelessness by supporting, to the maximum extent permitted by law, comprehensive services for individuals with serious mental illness and substance use disorders, including crisis intervention services. Crisis intervention services sound like a good idea, except if they're running for profit, they will be, or maybe even Christian backed crisis intervention services. If you would like to have shelter, then you need to pray with me. If you want this food you want the soup in the bowl, you have to listen to the sermon first. Sometimes the crisis intervention centers do that. Sometimes they don't. The Attorney General shall prioritize available funding to support, who's that? Adderall just subscribed. Thank you, Adderall. That's very cool. I appreciate that. Every little bit helps. Let's see. The Attorney General shall prioritize, oh my goodness. What's that name? Demetrius, I think. Yeah, my latest video has been popping off. And so I got 4, 5, 6 subs out of that. So very exciting. Very fun. I love it. And then Dogoska also subscribed on YouTube. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And instead of like doing it one at a time when it happens, it just comes in a loop. So if you're watching, if you're paying attention, hop in the chat. Tell me what you're thinking. Tell me what you're feeling. If you're in the Twitch chat, the lovely robot lady will read your stuff out to you.
Robot.
Or you go over to the Discord. So tell me what you're thinking and post photos and memes. If you post a funny photo or a good meme, I'll put it on the start screen. Like this one. See if you get a good one. I'll take off one of those and I'll put it on there. It'll be a good time. So, okay, I think it's done. Let's continue talking. What do we got? Increasing accountability and safety in America's homeless programs. The Secretary of Health and Human Services and Secretary of Housing and Urban Development shall take appropriate actions to increase accountability in the provisions of and grants awarded for homeless assistance and transitional living programs. Accountability based on their vibes. If RFK Jr. thinks that you're doing a bad job, he vibe checks you and thinks you're doing a bad job, he'll take your money away. And if he thinks you're doing a good job by not giving them vaccines and not giving them actual health care and making them work on a farm, then he will give you more money. These actions shall include the extent permitted by law, ending support for Housing First. Housing First initiatives work. God damn it. Housing First initiatives work. It gets people off the street because now they have a house. But the capitalists hate that shit because you're giving things to poor people.
Thank you for subscribing at Killer Mech for 5 months.
Killer Mech, you just turned a frog gay. I'm proud of you. I'm very happy with what you've done there. I hope you're proud of yourself. You just turned another frog gay. Housing First initiatives work because it gets the people off the street. It's exactly what the conservatives want. They just don't like the fact that the government pays for people to have a house. How are the billionaires going to make money if you're not paying them rent? How will the people who own the ground you stand on
Gay pride, gay pride, gay pride.
make money if you're not paying them rent? It's a government solution. And the conservatives and the capitalists hate government and government solutions. They want a capital solution. They want a capitalist solution where these people get jobs, make money, and then give it to them. The Housing First initiatives actually work, and they hate it because they don't want people to get stuff for free. They hate the welfare state. They hate the welfare state. They hate it when Poor children are fed. They hate WIC. They hate food stamps. They hate Medicaid. They hate Social Security sometimes. Well, Social Security is more of a pay and then through your job, and then you get the money back later. But what's the other thing? Welfare. They hate welfare. They hate that shit. Unless it's for a giant corporation, and then it's okay. But for poor people, getting free stuff is the most disgusting sin that a conservative has ever heard of. So this Housing First initiative, giving them places to live, is unacceptable. How is somebody supposed to profit off of that? Increasing competition among grantees through broadening the applicant pool, which means more people are allowed to say, hey, I'm a landlord and I'm giving this to people, give me some money or something like that, than charging them, and holding grantees to higher standards of effectiveness in reducing homelessness and increasing public safety. So this is going to require very complicated, very difficult nuance, and they ain't got it. They don't have it. They can't put it together. They do not know what nuance is or where it comes from. They just know who they hate. The Secretary of Housing and Urban Development shall, as appropriate, take steps to require recipients of federal housing and homelessness assistance to increase requirements that persons participating in the recipient program who suffer from substance and disorder, serious mental illness and substance abuse, treatment, and mental health services as a condition of participation. So I don't know, this is just saying that you have to be mentally ill and have a substance abuse treatment plan, or else you can't be in this housing stuff. So if you're just down on your luck with no money, you're out on your own, I guess. I don't know if you're, I think this, what they turn this one into is working aged men. If you're a man and you're between 18 and 59, there's no reason you shouldn't have a job, according to them. And so you go get a job. And if you don't, then you don't get any of this stuff. And if you do, you don't get any of this stuff because now you have to stand on your own 2 feet. With respect to recipients of federal housing and homelessness assistance that operate drug injection sites or safe consumption sites, knowingly distribute drug paraphernalia, or permit to the use of distribution of illicit drugs under property under their control. So yeah, get rid of the safe consumption sites. They hate this shit because the safe consumption sites have needles, clean, unused.
Bootstraps and all that.
Bootstraps, that's right. They don't accept the idea that the needles are there and that the people would come there, use that clean needle, because they're blind. They don't like the idea. Where's my blind spot? The conservatives are so obsessed with the idea that there's people are using the drugs that they don't see what else is happening there. One, the needles are clean and not giving anybody AIDS, which is a bigger health concern. If you're using dirty needles, you get infections, you get diseases, and then they have to pay for that eventually as they stumble into an emergency room. Then the needles aren't left on the side of the street. Big cities used to have that problem. The needles were on the street. They're just lying there. Or they get thrown into a regular dumpster, and then the people who are doing the very difficult job of taking away all your fucking trash have to be worried about whether or not they're going to get stuck and then catch AIDS from that. Terrible fucking thing to happen. So these safe consumption sites are working. They go there, they get the clean stuff, they put it in the appropriate receptacle, and then afterward, people try and talk them out of doing it again. They don't just get to break the law willy-nilly. The experts are waiting outside. But conservatives don't see it because they don't want to see it. And when you try and convince them, hey conservatives, listen, it's actually a really good thing that the safe consumption sites work. It actually makes everything safer. They just move their blind spot. Because they want to be blind. They don't want good things for these people because they hate them. Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, in coordination with the Attorney General, shall review whether such recipients are in violation of the terms of the program pursuant to which they receive federal housing and homelessness assistance and freeze their assistance as appropriate. If you run a safe consumption site, they will take your money away. You need to run a punitive, angry, hateful site that forces them to work and forces them to feel like slaves. That is the only thing that will work, is if you punish them harder. Punish the homeless harder. It's the only way they'll learn, according to the conservatives. The Secretary of Housing and Urban Development shall take appropriate measures. Programs being where permissible under law, federal programs, to exclusively house women and children, to stop sex offenders who receive homelessness assistance through such programs from being housed with unrelated children. So make sure we separate them because of that. I think that's fine. I don't think there's any issue with having a separate shelter for the women and the children. The Secretary of Housing and Urban Development, in consultation with the Attorney General, shall, as appropriate and to the extent of permissible law, identify as necessary to the effective funding all persons whom assistance provided. Great. Mental diagnoses. Okay. And that's the whole thing. So this is going to be bad and awful. The ICE Gestapo is going to round these people up and force them away from wherever they're at currently and put them on a farm in North Dakota and make them work. I'm serious. The work will make them free. That's a famous saying. I wonder where that came from. But they will be concentrated into a work camp and then be expected to stop all drugs cold turkey, first of all, right off the bat. Bam, done. No more drugs allowed. Then you're going to be expected, they're going to be forced to work and pump out product for some company who's going to benefit from it. And then in doing the work, this is the conservative plan. They will become better people. They will use their bootstraps to learn work ethics, and it'll solve their mental problems. The work will free their mind, and they will become better people, and then they can earn their way out. And then they'll be maybe given some sort of transition to a halfway house or something along those lines, but I doubt it. This will be a shit show. Oh, it will be a giant, nightmarish shit show. If they actually start rounding people up, I don't think that they will, but if they do, it'll be federal agents, not the local cops. The local cops might be there to back them up. It depends. Not in a left-leaning city or anything like that, but in one of the right-wing type of cities. They're not doing so hot in Los Angeles right now, so I don't think they'll go there. They'll go to Chicago or something like that, or New York City, and the NYPD is not exactly liberal, so they go to New York. They round up a handful of people. Everybody watches it. We'll watch the videos of it. They'll force these people into some sort of camp in somewhere else, some middle of the country state. Then force them to work, and then we'll have video and people taking pictures of it, and then the protesters will surround it. It's just the ICE stuff again. And then RFK Jr. will just say nonsense about it. He'll brag about how effective it is. The people in this camp are working every day, and they're earning their keep, and they're putting out a good product. And I know I do this every damn time, but hey, this sounds an awful lot like a thing the Nazis used to do. Action T4. What is that? It was a campaign of mass murder by involuntary euthanasia, which targeted people with disabilities and mentally ill in Nazi Germany. The term was first used in post-war trials against doctors who had been involved in the killings. They didn't say anything about killing, but the rounding up is the first step. The name T4 is the abbreviation of Tiergartenstraße. It's my German accent. A street address in the Chancellery Department set up in 1940 in Berlin, borough of Tiergarten, which recruited and paid personnel associated with the Action 4. Certain German physicians were authorized to select patients deemed incurably sick. Physicians deemed them incurably sick after most critical medical examination and then administer a mercy death. I don't think we're going to get to mercy killings, but I think we are going to get to a work camp. So that is going to be a bad time. So stay tuned. Watch as we put people into another work camp. It's going to be a good time, probably, or it's going to be a really bad time. If you're in chat, tell me what you're thinking, tell me what you're feeling. Will this go well? Will this go badly? I think it's going to go really, really badly. Am I wrong to compare it to the Nazi work camps? Am I wrong comparing that? I don't think I am, but if you think so, tell me about it in the Discord. If you'd like. It's right there.
Discord.
What else we got? I saw this one little message, one little tweet thingy about this. In recent days, so this is about the firing of Stephen Colbert 10 months from now. I know Stephen Colbert has been getting a lot of attention over the past couple of days because he's been canceled and fired. Only half of his firing was to do with his insulting of Trump. The other half is the fact that TV is dying and doesn't make any money anymore. He gets a fraction of the views that YouTubers get. Not me. I don't get any views, but he gets a fraction of the similar things online, and those similar things online cost a fraction to produce. Late night TV is dying. It is limping along. Paramount called an end to him for two reasons. 50%, he's talking shit about Trump and Trump could nix the Paramount deal. And 50% is he's not making them any money anymore. So, in Skydance is, didn't I have something else about Skydance? Where's Skydance? Where are you? Link. Nah. In recent days, Skydance took steps to assuage Mr. Carr, telling the agency that it would install official at the news division to ensure fairness in its journalism, and committing to avoiding DEI programs at the company. So Skydance, who really needs the government to sign off on their merger, the government can decide if it's a monopoly because the government can stop monopolies. They have that power. And so this $8 billion deal that Paramount is doing with Skydance is halted. It's stopped by the government, run by Donald Trump, because the government wants something in return. Donnie runs a pay-for-play scheme. If you want something from the government, you have to give him something. And so they've given him two things now. They've given him a lot of things, honestly. They've given him the cancellation of Stephen Colbert, and now a promise to not have DEI programs and avoid them and have a fairness in journalism, which means that you repeat right-wing talking points as if they are true. They're not true, but you're going to say that they are. That is the capitulation that they are making toward the government. Donald Trump runs a pay-for-play, quid pro quo, mafia-style government. If you want the government to do a thing, you have to pay him. You have to give him something of value. If you want the government to stop doing a thing that it's already doing, you have to convince him that it's beneficial to him. Everything that the government does now is beneficial to him, and everything they don't do is beneficial to him. That is the entire operation that he's got going on. And the Dems suck. Because they don't understand anything, and they don't know what's going on with anyone. Democrat candidates are posting weightlifting videos in search of a midterm lift. Great. Instead of pointing out the horrible things that Donald Trump is doing, they're just posting weightlifting videos to get boys to vote for them. Democrats running in next year's midterms are pumping out videos of themselves pumping iron. In one video, Texas Senate candidate Colin Allred stands in his home gym after a workout and, still in sweat, criticizes President Donald Trump's handling of Jeffrey Epstein files. In another, Kate Conley, an Army veteran challenging New York Rep Mike Lawler, talks about affordability as a video plays of her pressing weights over her head. And when a critic on social media jabbed at this bench press form in a recent campaign ad, Michigan Senate candidate Abdul El Sayed posted a snappy dismissal, correcting how many pounds he was lifting. That's a 315, Habibi. Jeez, I don't fucking know what's going on anymore. Politicians working out in public is a bipartisan custom, but Democrats are increasingly posting weightlifting content in hopes of reaching male voters, the so-called manosphere that Trump mastered during his campaign. They're also trying to move past the ongoing arguments fanned by Trump and Republicans on Capitol Hill or former President Joe Biden's physical and mental fitness. Democrats suck, and they don't know how to play politics. This is slightly better than what they usually do. Still kind of lame. They don't actually know how to talk to human beings because they aren't human beings. They're policy wonks. They're proceduralists. If the rules say, well, if the rules are written down and you can read the rules and then follow the rules, that's what they do. That's what they want. They want to uphold those rules. They want to amend those rules through the rule-making procedure, which has its own set of rules. And if you deviate from those rules, they will call you out on it. This is the biggest and most powerful thing that Democrats do. They are proceduralists. They love the procedure. And if you are following the procedure, they love you. If you are deviating from the procedure, as Donald Trump does, because he doesn't give a shit about the rules, they're very upset with you. Not because it's wrong or immoral. It's because you broke the rules. That is what they like. That's what they love. They don't understand politics is about getting people to feel things. Politics is based on feelings. Always has been. And this is slightly more understanding of what the people are feeling. They don't know why you feel it. This guy doesn't know why men support Donald Trump. He has no fucking clue. He has no idea why men support Donald Trump. He just knows that they do. So what do men like? What do men do? What are boys? They make muscles. It's the only thing he knows. They don't know why the people do the things they do. They are proceduralists. They don't care about human beings. They just know that boys equals muscles. So go get muscles. Go make a muscle, and the boys will like you. They're on the first step of discovery, I suspect. Maybe this will lead them to understanding human beings and knowing what people are and how they operate and why they do the things that they do. And if they do all that, then maybe they'll get votes. I'm criticizing them for being dumb, but I guess I'm criticizing them for taking the first step. I shouldn't criticize them for trying to understand human beings. I'm criticizing them for not having understood them this whole time. Maybe. What the hell am I looking at? What am I doing? Oh, yeah. Have you seen what old skunkhead had to say about Obama? It's real dumb, but we're going to take a look at it. Tulsi Gabbard, skunkhead, and the White House lying about intel on Russia interference in 2016, says the CIA chief. So Tulsi Gabbard has, in an attempt to distract you from Epstein and the Epstein cover-up, the Trump's Epstein cover-up that he is constantly doing all day, every day, she has tried to convince everybody, let's talk about 2014. Let's talk about 2015. Let's talk about 2016. Let's talk about Obama. That's way more fun than the current president who might be a sex offender. We're not going to talk about that. We're going to talk about 3 presidents ago, if you really think about it, who really did say some words. That's important. That's what you need to be concerned with. Do not care about Donald Trump pardoning a sex criminal to protect himself. Do not look at that. Do not talk about that. Do not think about that. No, 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 no. You need to think about the words Obama said in 2016, fucking decade ago. That's what you need to pay attention to. That's what you need to be listening to, says skunkhead Tulsi Gabbard. She has suggested that the pointing at the how do we put it? Paying attention to? Okay. Obama ran the CIA and the FBI, obviously. When Donald Trump was a candidate for president, he spoke to Russians. He literally did. What did he speak to them about? It's not illegal to talk to Russians. You can talk to them. They exist as human beings, and you can talk to them. Now, I'm going to blow your mind here. When you talk to them, the FBI and the CIA pay attention. Conservatives did not know this. They had no idea that when very rich people in America talk to very rich people in Russia, the CIA pays attention. The FBI pays attention to who you're talking to in Russia. They don't know this. They're stupid. Conservatives are dumb. They don't know anything or how anything works or why anything is the way it is. But what they did was pay attention to who's talking to Russians, which Russians, and about what. That, according to Tulsi Gabbard, is a nightmare, monstrous crime. It's sedition. It is literal insurrection. It is, what was the word she used? There's a word I'm forgetting. She said that he was manufactured. What's the fucking word that I'm thinking of? Sedition, not sedition, but fucking crime against the America. Anywho, the former CIA officer. Let me put it on screen. Put it on screen, stupid. The former CIA officer who helped oversee the 2017 intelligence assessment on Russia's interference in 2016 election says the DNI, Tulsi Gabbard, skunkhead, and the White House are lying when they claim that it was an attempt to sabotage President Donald Trump. Exactly. It wasn't an attempt to sabotage President Donald Trump. They pay attention to everybody that talks to rich Russians. Obviously. Susan Miller, a retired CIA officer who helped lead the team that produced the report about Russia's actions during the 2016 campaign, told NBC News it was based on credible information that showed Moscow sought to help Trump win the election, but that there was no sign of conspiracy between the Kremlin and the Trump campaign. Simply saying that sentence is a crime, according to Donald Trump's legal team. Saying, hey, they preferred Trump, they tried to get him elected, but we found nothing in between the Trump campaign and the Kremlin. Nothing proving that they were working together. This paragraph is a crime, according to them. The Director of National Intelligence and the White House are lying. Again, Miller said, we definitely had the intel to show that with high probability that the specific goal of the Russians was to get Trump elected. At the same time, we found no two-way collusion between Trump and his team and the Russians at the time. This is illegal. According to them, the fact that they did this in 2016 means that President Obama is guilty of treason. That's the word I was looking for earlier. Treason. Because the CIA investigated somebody talking to Russians, President Obama is guilty of treason. That's fucking stupid. It just is. There's no way around it. There's no arguing this with any conservative. I wish Tony was, not white Tony, but the other Tony, was in Kick Chat right now to scream about this. This is nothing. Literally nothing. It is a distraction away from the Epstein bullshit. Because she's like, stop talking about Epstein, look at Obama. He had the people investigate things that were worthy of investigating. And if you investigate a Democrat for nothing, that's normal operating procedure. If you investigate a Republican for a thing that might be a crime, that's a step too far. You've gone too far. You're not allowed to investigate conservatives because they're always right, says the conservative. So what should we do here? This is a hot take that I'm going to give you. Are you ready for the hot take? President Obama should sue Donald Trump. Not the government. No. The government itself. Wait, not the government itself. He should sue Donald Trump, not the government. President Obama should sue Donald Trump, not the government. President Trump. He should sue Trump personally. Donald Trump gets to do it, right? Donald Trump is suing the Wall Street Journal for saying things about him. Trump's Wall Street Journal lawsuit raises constitutional questions. He's suing the Wall Street Journal for posting true stories, true facts. The Wall Street Journal puts out real stuff, and they get sued by the government. Obama should sue Donald Trump personally for $10 billion because it's defamatory, right? Donald Trump himself said Obama is guilty. He said it. Obama is guilty. Has there been a trial? The investigation hasn't even started. There hasn't been a trial. No one's been brought in through the grand jury. No, nobody's been on a jury. No one's been found him guilty. But the president said you're guilty.
Even if Obama did do a crime, he was president when he did it.
Absolutely. That's the other thing that he should.
So it's not a crime.
Absolutely. He should bring that up when he puts this lawsuit for $10 billion. That's exactly what Obama should do. And it would hurt Trump. Either he's going to have to pay that. Bring it to trial. Bring it to trial. Discovery on this shit will be great. And it would make very good stuff for Waldo to talk about. But the news media would gobble it up. Donald Trump would look like an idiot. And he would lose money. And he would settle out of court. Probably. For lots and lots of millions of dollars. It wouldn't be $10 billion. But you start with a ridiculous number that high. And when the president of the United States, the head of the Department of Justice, he's above all the justice in this damn country, says you are guilty before any trial has ever happened, before any investigation has ever happened, you have been defamed. You have been defamed, Mr. Obama. You should sue him for $10 billion right now. Right damn now. And you would win. If he brings it to court, you would win the case. If he settles out of court, you win. Now, where does that money come from? Donnie doesn't have that much money. He might have that much in crypto these days. 5 years ago, he didn't have $10 billion. He didn't have $1 million. He didn't have $1 billion. But now he has a crypto scam that he's running. And when he tries to use the government money to pay that, we hammer his ass. Dems love following the procedure. I just talked about how Dems are proceduralists. They will follow the money. When he uses taxpayer dollars to pay Obama, hammer him, bring him up on charges. He can't use the government's money to pay a personal debt. But he's going to try. He's damn sure going to try. He's absolutely going to try. Then you have the Dems follow that money. That's procedure. They love that shit. They love procedure. They love following the money. They would be able to do that. They would be able to point at the laws and the rules that he is breaking. And also, you're right, Killer Mac. The fact that Obama did it while president means that he can't be sued for it is the hypocrisy that will also harm Donald Trump. Pointing out his hypocrisy is a good thing. Most of his loyal followers do not recognize that he is a hypocrite, and they like it when he is. They play with words, just like on the last video that I did. They don't care about what's real. They don't care about what's true. They don't mind you pointing out their hypocrisy most of the time. But this one might, because it's about Obama, and Obama will have millions of dollars. It will be hard for them to ignore the fact that Donald Trump will be giving Obama lots of money. They will be upset by that. This will upset them greatly. And then when you point out, hey, he stole your tax money to give to Obama, this will upset them even more. You cannot have this lunatic in charge anymore. You cannot listen to him. You cannot trust him. He is untrustworthy. He is a giant super liar, and he is suing people, but they can't sue him. The president is ruling lawsuits like this. The president can sue you, but you can't sue him. The hell does... That's the most important part of this entire situation. The president can sue you and call you defamatory and say that you are harming him, but you can't do it to him back, even though he's called you guilty, which is a literal fucking lie. The Supreme Court would have to weigh in on this, and it would only show more distrust that the people have for the Supreme Court and stuff like that. This would only prove that they're in his pocket and doing bad things. Pointing a spotlight at their bad actions is a good thing. The Dems should be all over this. And then Obama can ham it up. Tell him, I'm going to give the $10 billion to the poorest people in the country. I'm going to give it to all these homeless people. I'm going to give it to these veterans. I'm going to give it to these homeless vets. Give them $10 billion. I'm going to buy them a house. Obama would buy people's houses with that money. And then it would go wild on the social media. The people on TikTok would be like, oh my God, look at this. He just bought a house for somebody with the money he took from Donald Trump. Oh, and that money came from the government. It would be a firestorm. It would be a great time. And it would be a good political move. The Dems don't really like good political moves. They don't make good political moves most of the time. They're kind of a fucking mess. They don't understand politics or why anybody does it. So yeah, the Wall Street Journal is a... So what is happening with the Wall Street Journal? The Wall Street Journal put out a facts and an actual factual accounting of the past, and Donald is suing them for $10 billion. He's suing them for $10 billion. So that's why I didn't come up with that number arbitrarily. Donnie came up with that number arbitrarily, but I'm suggesting Obama sue him for also $10 billion. Rupert Murdoch runs the Wall Street Journal. He's a very important guy, very valuable guy. You've heard his name. He owns Fox News. He owns the Wall Street Journal. He is the reason there is even a debate about climate change in America. Most of the world recognizes that climate change is real and we got to do something about it. What we should do and how much we should do is debatable. But the fact in America that some people think it's a hoax is because of Rupert Murdoch. He saw that cutting back on greenhouse emissions and cutting back on oil would hurt his bottom line, hurt his money, hurt his portfolio. And so he used his gigantic media apparatus to confuse the American public, lie to them, tell them it was a hoax, tell them it was just blue-haired feminazis who are trying to hurt big oil. He's the reason we still have to have this fight. He is incredibly powerful. I'll give you a little bit of a timeline. When he suggested that he was going to run this information about Epstein and about Trump, he told Trump ahead of time. He told him he was going to run it in the Wall Street Journal. And you know what the White House did? They sent J.D. Vance to negotiate or beg or threaten. Nobody knows what J.D. Vance talked to the head of Fox about. Let me see if I can find a link about that. Vance talks to Rupert Murdoch. Yeah, here we go. J.D. Vance made a brief trip to Montana to speak to Rupert Murdoch and Lachlan Murdoch right before the story about Trump and Epstein came out in the Wall Street Journal. They told him it was going to happen, and they sent a lackey, a goon, a bitch boy, a do boy. I don't know what they sent. I don't know if he went there and gave them a stern talking to about how they can't do this. Maybe he did. But J.D. Vance is kind of a bitch. So he probably went there and whined and complained and cried. And then they went ahead with it anyway because they were not impressed with his whining and bitching and crying. Why is this happening? Is Rupert Murdoch on the right? He hates climate change and he hates you and he wants more money for himself. Yes, he is on the right. But he's on the economic right, not the culture war right, which is where Donnie and J.D. Vance live. If tariffs hurt Rupert Murdoch's bottom line, he's anti-tariff. And I think that he sees that Donnie is going to be bad for the economy. He sees that Donald Trump is bad for the big businessmen, except for that big tax cut he just cut with the big busted bill, the big beautiful bill that passed a couple of weeks ago. Now that that's done, they're done with him. Now that the giant tax breaks for the American wealthy are passed, they don't need Donnie anymore. They don't need him. He's gone. He's done. He did the thing they needed him to do, and now they can turn on him. And that is what Rupert Murdoch is doing, because that's better for his business. The best thing for his business is to get Donald Trump elected, get that big, beautiful bill passed within the first few months, and then dump his ass. So that's what he's doing. He's not your friend. He's not on your side, and he's not going to make the world a better place for anybody except himself. He's going to make more money for himself, and that's what he's doing. And the most valuable thing that he can do right now is dump Trump. And he's going to push all, and it makes us all pay attention to the Wall Street Journal. Every time they post something about Epstein, people pay attention. People start watching. People start seeing it. They love that shit. The normies and the people in the middle love watching this drama shit. They like it. They love it. They want some more of it. And so he's going to make bank off of talking about Epstein for the next 2 years. And then he's going to make bank by getting rid of Donald Trump. And then he's going to make bank from the big, beautiful bill that just passed. He isn't ideological. He's capitalist to his core. But J.D. Vance went there to try and convince him that he should be more of a he should be on their side and not dump Trump, probably. Or maybe he went there to say, yeah, get rid of Trump and I will do what you say, Mr. Murdoch. Maybe he went there to throw Trump under the bus. Maybe he went there to the head of the Wall Street Journal, to Rupert Murdoch, and said, hey, I'll be your boy. I'll be your man. Maybe he's making plans to 25th Donald Trump right after the midterm fails, because I think that's what's going to happen. I think the midterms are going to be such a shit show. The 2028, no, is it? It's the 2028. No, the 26th midterm. Sorry. 2026, we're going to have some midterms. It's going to be a shit show, top to bottom. Dems are going to be in the lead because usually the opposition party is in the lead during the midterms. That's always what happens. But they're going to be in a very big lead. There's 36 Senate seats up for grabs. The Dems need like 13 of them to have like a fucking supermajority. Flip 13 of them. So like half of them get flipped. The Dems have the majority in Congress and they will impeach him. If they take the House and the Senate, they will impeach Trump. He knows this. I know this. You know this. What's Donald Trump going to do? He's going to lie his ass off a lot. And then he's going to write executive orders that fuck up the voting systems. Absolutely positively going to happen.
Vance has to be the single most plastic person I've ever seen. It would surprise me if he didn't have aims to usurp Trump.
Exactly. So Donald Trump is going to put out executive orders before, like a week before the election, changing the election rules, changing the election law, throwing shit into disarray. Nobody will know if his law applies to the vote that happened today. He signed an executive order last week. We voted today. Does that executive order apply? Nobody fucking knows. And it'll go to a court. And if it's a right-wing court, they'll agree with Donald Trump. And if it's a normal human court that isn't biased, it will probably disagree with him. That's what we're at right now. We're at right-wing courts and normal courts. That's where we are. So that will make a fucking mess. And then Donald Trump will look into the camera and tell you who won. He will tell you who won the Senate races. And it'll all be red team. All of it. Every damn bit. Won't matter that they got fewer votes. Won't matter that Donnie fucked up the election and changed the rules 5 minutes before the game started. Or after some of the early votes actually came in. He'll claim it was a crime. He'll claim that they were illegal votes. I mean, he still goes on about Hillary's 4 million illegal voters in 2016. Nonsense. Never happened. It's a giant super lie. But he keeps telling it. He keeps talking about how he won in 2020. No, he didn't. And he's going to tell you in 2026 who won the midterms. And it will be him. And it will be his team. It won't be based on facts or logic or vote counting or arithmetic. All of that shit be damned. He's going to win. And when the people see that he's lying to them, maybe they will do something about it. Maybe J.D. Vance, the most plastic person we've ever seen, will step up and say, no, that's wrong. No, that didn't happen. You cannot change the votes. And J.D. Vance coming on the TV, looking directly down the barrel and telling you Donald Trump is wrong about this. He has lost his footing. He is confused. I have been working with him for the past 2 years, and he is demented. And he needs to be removed by the 25th Amendment. Rupert Murdoch will be on his side. The Wall Street Journal will come out and giant letters, Trump dementia, splashed across the page. And everybody that reads the Wall Street Journal, because they only care about finance, it's a financial paper, will know it's time. This is the time. We have to take everything from him. We have to dethrone him. J.D. Vance, who has filled the cabinet and the parts of the government with Project 2025 people will have the support and the backing to do the 25th Amendment to Donald Trump. He will be removed in 26 after this huge mess of the midterms. J.D. Vance will then say, yeah, the red team did win. I mean, we don't know what's going on. It's a mess. We're going to have to go through this in the court. And the 2026 election will last a fucking year. I'm telling you, 2026 elections won't be settled for 6-7 months. We won't know who the senators are. And the red team will say they won, and the blue team will say they won. And they'll fight about it in court. It'll be a fucking mess. And Donnie will be out. And JD will take over. And then he will try and run 2 more times so that he can spend a full 10 years. Because that's a little bit of trivia. Fun fact. You're allowed to run twice, but the maximum amount of time you're allowed to be the president is 10 years, according to the Constitution now. Because if you take over halfway through, if the vice president takes over halfway through Donald Trump's thing, and then he's allowed to run 2 more times, putting him at 8 or 4 plus 4 plus 2 for a total of 10 years. That is what he wants. And I think he's going to go for it. That's what I think my conspiracy theorist idea is right now. So, let's see what else is going on. Okay, so yeah, Joe Rogan turns on Trump administration over Epstein crisis. Do they think we're babies? Joe, they think you're an idiot. They think that you are dumb. They think that you believe the words that Donald Trump says. Joe Rogan, listen. I know you're a big fan and you watch me all the time. Donald Trump lies about election results. He lies about the wars in Gaza. He lies about everything. Climate change, the economy, Hillary, Obama, the price of gas, Ukraine, Russia, how tariffs work. He lies about everything, and you know it. You like it. I watched the entire Joe Rogan interview of Donald Trump before the election, and he lied constantly the whole time, and you liked it because you enjoyed the things that he had to say. You wanted those lies. Lies are delicious. Bullshit feels and tastes good. Reality is harsh and tastes like shit. Joe, you have been told for years that Donald Trump is a liar, but this is the one thing that his followers cannot accept. They cannot accept the idea that he is lying about the Epstein stuff. It's right there in their faces, and they know it. And this is the one thing they can't get over. It's the one thing they can't paint away. It's the one thing they can't easily wave away. And I guess I'm glad that they finally see this one thing is a lie, even though he's lied many times. Hopefully, they start to see the rest. This is why it's important to keep talking about it. This is why it's important to keep talking about the Epstein thing. This is why the Democrats need to keep pushing it. This is why I am going to continue pushing it. I appreciate everyone who is here watching, and it might get redundant and repetitive, but it's important that we keep talking about it. Keep pointing at it. It is the one weakness that he has. It is the lie that the MAGA faithful zealots refuse to accept. And if they refuse to accept this one, maybe we can convince them to accept a few of the others. Maybe, if we're lucky. So on that topic, Ghislaine Maxwell handed DOJ 100 names in shameless pardon quid pro quo, because that's exactly what they're doing. They are getting a McCarthy list from her of people, and they will release the list if they don't like them. If they see Donald Trump on this list, they'll cross his name off and they won't release it to you. If they see Pastor Mike Johnson, Speaker of the House, on this list, they'll cross his name off. If they see Newt Gingrich, famous Republican, they'll cross his name off. If they see RFK Jr. on this list, they'll cross his name off, and they will release the list of the people they don't like. This is why it cannot be trusted. Ghislaine Maxwell has given them information, and they will edit that information to say whatever the damn hell they want. And then they will throw it out there, and the lie will get all the way around the world before the truth has a chance to put its boots on. It's an old saying. Lies get around the world before the truth can have its boots on. So the bullshit, this is what they did with the Mueller investigation as well. They will edit what it says. They will put it out there, and it will make themselves look good and their enemies look bad. And then a week later, someone will actually get all the information, and then we'll find out the truth. And it will not be what they said it was. And she will get pardoned because that's the game they're playing now. They will give her something if she gives them something. I have something else to look at. So yeah, the timeline we're looking at right now. I'm constructing a timeline. It's a lot to take in, but the Wall Street Journal announces a creepy birthday letter to Trump. Trump sends J.D. Vance to meet with Rupert Murdoch to threaten or beg or bargain. Who knows? The Wall Street Journal then publishes the information in the letter anyway. The Wall Street Journal also releases leaked info. It says Pam Bondi told Trump that he is in the Epstein files. So the Wall Street Journal told us that Pam Bondi told Trump he's in the Epstein files. He knows it. You know it. I know it. We know it. Everybody knows it. Then the Republicans claim that they can't release the files to protect the victims. They don't want to release the files because it's all about the victims. Pastor Mike Johnson shuts down the House to stop votes and subpoenas. They did subpoena Ghislaine Maxwell. I think that's a stupid idea. She will just say whatever makes the current president happy. Whoever the current president is, it doesn't matter who the current president is. She will just say whatever makes them happy. Then what happened after that? So the subpoena went out. Did I watch the South Park episode? No, I haven't seen it yet. I don't think I have the, what is it on? Is it on the HBO Max or is it on Paramount or something? I don't have Paramount. I have too many subscriptions. I haven't watched it yet, but I might pirate it later. I would never do such a thing. I would never pirate such a thing. So yeah, the
Pirate Mount.
Yeah, I don't have that one. I have too many subscriptions already. So what else happened? Then, yeah, so Mike Johnson shuts down the House so that you can not vote on things. The subpoena did go out for Ghislaine, but the House is closed, and so it can't really happen until September. So she can't be in front of the House until September. Hopefully, Pastor Mike Johnson is hoping this blows over by then. The DOJ's second in command, Trump's previous lawyer, went to meet in person with Ghislaine in prison. That's why you can't trust them. Trump's personal lawyer went to talk to Ghislaine in prison, and he is going to edit the shit out of anything she says. And I'm absolutely accusing him of threatening and bargaining with her. The threats are to increase her sentence or send her to fucking El Salvador, or bargaining. If she says nice things about Donald Trump, she will have her sentence commuted and reduced. And she's going to be a very important person, and I don't like it because she's in power here. She's in the position of power to say whatever Donald Trump wants her to say. I can't wait to see her on Hot Ones, the YouTube channel where you eat the hot wings. It's going to be fun. How far do you think Ghislaine Maxwell will make it up the Scoville scale before she starts crying and stuff? It'll be a great time. So yeah, it's going to be a mess. It's not going to be trustworthy. Nothing she says is trustworthy. You can't trust the things that she's saying because she's clearly, blatantly going to be not politically, but literally physically motivated. If she says mean things about Trump, she spends more time in jail. If she says nice things about him, she spends less time in jail. How do you trust that? How do you believe any of the things that she has to say? So what else did I want to talk about today? Crypto. Yeah. Sudden shift in topics. If you're watching, hop into Discord, tell me what you're thinking, tell me what you're feeling. Going over to the YouTube page. The latest video on YouTube is popping off. I got quite a few views of that one, and it's very fun. So hop over there, tell me what you're thinking. Go to the go to the YouTube page, smash the bell, break the thumb.
Check out Waldo's videos.
Interrupting robot.
www.youtube.com/@waldospoliticalstream/videos.
Thank you, Interrupting Robot. You can go on over to the YouTube page, smash the bell, break the thumb, stab someone in the comments, because the YouTube algorithm is powered by hatred, and it will benefit me if you do any of those things. What else we got? I wanted to talk about crypto because I hate it. Hot take: crypto's a scam. All of it. Every single one of them. Bitcoin, Litecoin, Dogecoin, Haktua coin, all scams. Every single one. The week crypto won big in America. Yep, should be banned. Absolutely. Thank you, White Tony. It is a scam. For years, the U.S. government has adopted a hands-off approach to cryptocurrencies, deeming them too dangerous for average Americans and too risky for the country's national finance. Not anymore. In a historic vote, the House of Representatives earlier this week, Congress approved the country's first ever major crypto legislation, signaling a sea change in the U.S. stance towards these digital currencies. The overall market valuation, get out of here, fucking pop-ups. The overall market valuation, cryptocurrencies hit $4 trillion of fake dollars soon after the vote, in a reflection of the excitement being felt across the sector. And in a ceremony on Friday, President Trump, who has vowed to make America the crypto capital of the planet, signed a bill into law to the cheers of Republican lawmakers. This afternoon, we take a giant step to cement America's dominance of global finance and crypto technology as we signed the landmark Genius Act into law. The law sets new rules and more narrow yet promising segment of the crypto market called stablecoins. It sets the stage for more laws to come. 2 other crypto-related bills are making their way through Congress now. But it's one bill in particular that the crypto sector wants, called the Clarity Act. It was also passed by the House on Thursday as part of the Republican lawmakers have called Crypto Week. The bill would hand policing power of the crypto sector to a smaller regulatory body called the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, the CFTC. And that will be filled with people who are Republican and nice to Republicans. This will become exactly like every other government agency that the Republicans put their fingers into. They will make themselves more rich and make their enemies less rich. As a shift would revamp how digital currencies are regulated in the U.S., and critics fear it could lead to weaker policing of what they consider to be a dangerous segment of the financial sector. Exactly. They would only investigate the things that they don't like. They would only look into their political enemies. If you don't vote the way they vote, they will stop you and investigate you and slow down your crypto stuff. If you do vote the way they vote, they will ignore any crypto violation you might have. Crypto is a giant scam. Foreign countries and rich people will buy the crypto of the senator they want to buy. That senator will turn that crypto into dollars and then have it and keep it, and you won't know about it. Dark money is a problem within the American democracy. Paying senators is a problem, and the senators have always known this, and they've worked their asses off to find a way to get paid anyway, through bribes, through lobbyists, through paying for your campaigns, to now just accepting money through crypto. They were getting it from Citizens United before. Citizens United was a terrible idea. Corporations were allowed to give unlimited money to these people, which is a bad idea. And now corporations can buy unlimited Bitcoin to give to these senators. They'll just buy it for them. This leads to more bribery. This leads to more corruption. This leads to more people
Weird
paying
how they took
more.
the sanction away from Tornado Cash when they did.
What is Tornado Cash? I don't know that one. I know you mentioned it earlier. Is that in this thing? It's probably not. Tornado Cash. Let's look at that. Tornado Cash is a open source, non-custodial, fully decentralized cryptocurrency tumbler that runs on Ethereum virtual machine compatible networks. It offers a service that mixes potentially identifiable or tainted cryptocurrency. I love the identifiable. is the tainted part of cryptocurrency. If you can identify where it came from, that's tainted. Fucking criminals. Cryptocurrency funds with others so as to obscure the trail back to the fund's original source. This is a privacy tool used in EVM networks where all transactions are public by default. They took the sanction away from Tornado Cash. So there is going to be more Tornado Cash in the near future. This app will get more use over the next few months, I suspect, over the next few years.
Yes, so you can legally use it.
So you can legally use it. So, great. So more
to
corruption.
Launder your Bitcoin.
To launder your Bitcoin. Yeah, more corruption. More corruption. Yay! And some of the Dems voted for this. Some of the Dems voted for the Genius Act. And they're going to vote for for Tornado Cash. They're going to vote for the next stablecoin thing to come through because they want to be paid too. They need that money. If only Republicans are getting crypto dollars, then how are the Dems ever going to compete and win? They can't. So they have to jump on board as well. Follow me, Dems. Follow me here. Listen. Convince the people and change their minds. That's what the Dems should be doing. They hate doing that. They don't want to do that. It's easier to just adopt the tactics of your enemy. You see? If the Republicans are being corrupt and taking crypto dollars and getting elected, that's what the Dems should do. They need that money. They like money. They want money. So just adopt the stances and practices of your enemy. That's the Democrat line right now. That is what the Dems are doing. That's why they were pumping iron earlier. Not because they know why they want to do it, because they want to adopt the practices and stances of their enemies. That means the enemy won, guys. If you can't win, so you adopt their ideology, they won. Why are you even bothering? If you voted for the Crypto Act, just go be a Republican. Goddamn. Just go do that. They'll allow it. They'll love it. They'll cheer for you. You'll get even more money. Republicans have no ethics. Dems have a few, but not nearly enough. If you want to fight Donald Trump, if you want to fight fascism, if you want to fight this corruption, you have to move left. But there's no money on the left. It's not a place where money lives. The people on the left are pretty anti-capitalist. That's what happens when you go there. You say, hey, this homeless crisis because of capitalism, this crypto crisis because of capitalism, this war in Ukraine because of capitalism. Maybe we should do something about this capitalist stuff. Rupert Murdoch fucked up our climate change debate so that he could make more money. He used money to fuck up the debate so that he could make more money. And now we have to argue with flat earth goobers who think that climate change is a Chinese hoax. Money. Capitalism is the root of all our problems in this country, not the poor people. The poor people are poor because of capitalism. The failures of capitalism lead to the homeless people. The failures of capitalism lead to immigrants crossing the border and then getting jobs for pennies on the dollar, and company owners, farm owners, paying them much less than they would have to pay an American. That's a failure of capitalism, not a failure on the poor people. They're doing what they have to survive in the capitalist hellscape that we belong in, or that we are in right now. Capitalism is the cause of the poor people. It's the cause of the homeless people. It's the cause of the corruption within the government. It's the cause of Ghislaine Maxwell being valuable and important. It's the cause of Jeffrey Epstein. Do something about that. That is why I'm screaming about it all the time. It is the cause of all our problems. Is it the solution to our problems? No, it's the cause. We need to regulate it. We need to comprehend what's going on, why. We need to pay attention to class and class distinctions so that you will know where you are on the class hierarchy. Most likely you're on the bottom with me, but knowing you're on the bottom is better than just being there oblivious. knowing that you're a sheep. It's better than just being a sheep who doesn't know. It's the first step. The first step in class consciousness is being conscious, waking up. Oh no, woke Waldo. I do have one other theory, conspiracy theory. It's conspiracy time, everybody. Let's get the hat. Time for that. All right. There we go. Okay. Conspiracy theory time. I mentioned this in my Discord the other day, and I've mentioned the idea before. We're going back to Epstein. Pastor Mike Johnson, House Speaker of the House, has suggested that he can't and doesn't want to release Epstein files because it would hurt the victims. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files, but not as a John, not as someone who's paying to have sex with people. No. Donnie's a victim. Donald Trump, gay for pay, sexual assault victim. Ghislaine was pimping him out. That's the theory. That's the idea. Follow me here, folks. The Republicans do appreciate and like the people. Republicans and conservatives want to be powerful enough to buy sex. They do. That's their personality. If Donald Trump is buying sex from underage women, that's because he's rich and powerful. They, the conservatives and the Republicans, want to be that rich and powerful. When they get into power and they have lots of money, they often do that thing. They often buy sex from poor people. That in their eyes makes him strong, powerful daddy energy. You know, they claim that it's illegal, and they know that they're not allowed to do it, but they would if they had the chance. But what if? And so because of that, Donald being friends with Epstein isn't the horrible thing that you might think it is. Why is he trying so hard? Why is he working his ass off to keep you from finding out what's in those files? It's because he was the sex worker. Donald Trump, sex worker. Rich, powerful people paid to have sex with him. Jeffrey Epstein was pimping him out to Russian oligarchs. We always joke about Donald Trump sucking Vladimir Putin's dick anyway. What if he literally was for money? What if he was doing that for money? Would you put that past him? I wouldn't. Would he do unspeakable, terrible things for money? Of course he would. That's why he's fighting against it so hard. That's why he's trying to keep it so quiet. Not because he was the John, because he was the bitch. And that would lose him, his entire base. His entire base would collapse if that happened. If we found out that some rich guy paid him to do something unpleasant. Or bring him drinks. It could be even as simple as that. They paid him a ton of money. They paid him $1 billion to dress up in a maid outfit and serve them drinks. His entire base would collapse.
So spread the word, folks.
Spread the word, folks. Donald Trump, gay for pay, sex worker. I have no evidence to back this up. That's why I have the hat on.
Epstein was Trump's pimp.
Yeah, exactly. Epstein was Trump's pimp. It makes all the sense. That's why he's trying so hard to keep it quiet. And when you see the photos of, remember that photo, that famous photo of him pointing them out? Let me find the photo. Hang on. Bear with me here as I find the photo of him pointing at the girls. Trump, Epstein, photo, images, the famous one where he's at the party and they're pointing at the girls. There we go. This one. Right here. See this one? This one right here? Where he's like, hey, Jeffrey, look at those girls. Don't you want to have sex with those girls? Jeffrey Epstein's like, no. I want to have sex with you, Donnie. He's trying to convince Jeffrey to do the girl. He's like, look at those pretty girls over there, please. Do those girls over there. And Epstein's like, no, that's too easy. I want you, Donnie. I'm being silly. I appreciate you guys coming with me.
Give me that rump trump.
Give me that rump trump. That's right. And then Netanyahu comes over and gets a piece. And then Putin comes over and gets a piece. And yeah, it's a silly idea. But what if he was doing that? What if he was the recipient? It's like you walk in and you have like a whole menu. And Jeffrey Epstein lays out the menu before you. And there's like a Russian blonde girl, a redhead, a 16-year-old, which is bad. I don't like any of this. This is all bad. And then at the end of the menu is Donald Trump. Somebody's going to be like, hey, if I give you a bunch of money, I can sexually assault Donald Trump. And then he'd be like, yeah, of course you can. And then Donald Trump would be like, yeah, of course you can. I love money. I love money. Then he would totally do that. And then, so if this comes out, if this pops off, what would happen? We would see a very fun turnaround. This would be a very, I'm going to put the hat back on, wild turnaround. What would happen? The Republicans would suddenly claim him as a victim. Republicans do enjoy being victims. They enjoy being victimized. They love playing the victim. All Christianity is built on victimhood. They would claim him as a victim, and they would do the Me Too movement, and they would make Donald Trump part of the Me Too movement. They really would. And then when I make fun of him about being a bitch, they would woke scold me. They would become woke immediately, and they would woke scold me for making fun of him. And they'd be like, well, you wouldn't make fun of any woman who was sexually assaulted. Why are you making fun of Donald Trump who was sexually assaulted? Don't you have any ethics, Waldo? And it would be fun to watch them completely 180 and become super woke and super defending of sexual assault victims. And then you'd have Republican senators on TV talking about how it's terrible that this thing happened. And the liberals are actually the hypocrites here because they're the ones pointing it out and bringing up the fact that he was sexually assaulted. And it would be a wild, crazy, fun time. And that's just what I think would happen. And it would be fun to watch. It would make for good content. Not that I want any of this to happen, and not that I have any evidence that any of this is true. I'm just asking questions. I'm just asking questions. Okay. If they're allowed to do it about the flat earth and about Barack Obama, I'm allowed to do it about Donald Trump being pimped out by Epstein and Ghislaine. Whew. So yeah, that was my latest one. I don't think I can publish that on YouTube as a video, but by all means, spread the rumor. I appreciate everybody who's here today. Thank you very much for being here. I love you. I am so glad you're here. I am going to look for somebody else to raid with like 8 people. ADHD, search and filter. ADHD debater is
Master 2002 Shark Love.
Yeah, absolutely. So I'm going to hit the start raid button. Thank you for coming. I will be back on Wednesday unless the Gestapo kicks in my door and drags me off to the gulag. Stick around. Follow ADHD Debater. He's playing video games. It's very fun. You should do that.